that is my cue. All right, let me get rid of that. So, welcome everybody to Monday Morning Coffee. Yes, it's Monday morning. It's not sunny, but at least it's bright out. All right, and one of the signs and symptoms, that was a great lead-in for me, is memory loss, right? And I don't know about you, but I have a mother who, after surgery in her early 90s, went from, forgetfulness, and she knew when she was forgetful, to she's in some decade enjoying herself right now, right? And so every time I forget that word that I want to say, it scares the daylights out of me, right? And I am getting closer to 60 than 50. And so I saw this article and I went, wow, this is really going to help. Kind of threw me some of the suggestions. So this is through Inc.com, right, which is enterprise. And they have about 5. One's got 5, one's got 8, and the different resources that I've looked at. But guess what? All of them said have better lighting. Why do you think that is, coaches or people that are into naturopath? Why would the lighting be a big factor? What was the first thing I started with this morning?
Mood. It's your mood.
Yeah. Okay, we don't have sunshine, but at least it's bright out this morning, right? It's brighter than it can be. Okay, it just makes such a difference in our mood. Yeah, I wonder sometimes. I see those shows on TV that show homes in different countries or cities, and I see these cities in Arizona that have 352 days of sunshine, and I go, why am I in Southern Ontario again? Oh, my granddaughter, right? Okay, so that is one of them, that's for sure. Okay, I was really surprised by this intermittent fasting. Anybody got any idea why? Mind you, coaches and nutritionalists and.
Well, I will say that I've done intermittent fasting. So typically what I do is I don't eat until 2:00 in the afternoon. And the first time was tough, I'll have to tell you. But after that, like within 2 days, by the time that you get to that second or third day, your mood is better, your brain is clearer, and you just feel better all around, right? And of course, after about 4 or 5 days, you start losing weight, which is also helpful. But yeah.
Yeah, that is exactly it. It is your brain cells now have time to grow because you're not working on food 24 hours a day. So say the researchers. So I thought that was interesting. I didn't look any deeper into it. I think that's a little too big for my pea brain, but I'll buy that one, right? Okay. This one from somebody who has spoke backwards for their entire life, right? I was in the medical profession before I was an entrepreneur, and I used to ask people all the time if they had pain chest, and the odd looks I got, but they say we should walk backwards. Every article that I read, this was one of them. Okay, and it says the ability to recall. In short term, you have to think about walking backwards. It's not as natural as walking forward. And that's why they tell you to walk backwards in a safe area. Okay, folks? Lynn, get your hand up. Where'd you go? Lynn, there you are.
Yeah, I was just going to add on to the other one that Alzheimer's actually now, it's known as type 3 diabetes. So what happens is, for people who have, oh my goodness, I'm getting the brain fog because I had eggs already this morning. When you're eating too many carbs, if your brain is deprived of sugar, then ketones helps fuel the brain so you can remember things better. So if you cut back on the carbs a little bit, you can get into ketosis, and then your brain can think clearer. So intermittent fasting will get you into ketosis if you've been doing it long enough. So that helps with remembering things better and clears the brain fog.
And so they're calling Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes because of poor diet?
Yeah, and I think it's insulin, insulin sensitivity, I think.
Sensitivity as opposed to resistance.
Like the
Okay.
resistance.
Okay,
Yeah. If you're resistance, then yeah, your brain's not going to think it's cool.
Okay, fair enough. Good stuff. Thank you. Who was there? Sean, did you have something to add?
Are we talking about what exactly is the topic right now?
Things to improve your memory.
Okay. Yeah, I think Alzheimer's is referred to that because it's the like small blood vessels in the brain. They're affected by high levels of blood sugar, and they can over time they can cause advanced form of atherosclerosis, and so it affects the memory. Poor circulation to the brain, especially, it'll affect it over time and cause buildup of things that should be normally flushed out of there, build up like little plaques, and that's why they call it's a microvascular problem.
There you go. Wow. Okay. You've gone way beyond my ability to think. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. That's great information, though, because it piques people's interest. And if it does, then they'll look into it further, right? And that's what we always want to be doing, is stirring the pot. I don't know the answers to everybody's, but yeah, Chris Lee, go ahead.
So obviously I have to wake up every morning early. On the days that it's hard for me, like last night, my son, he has a stuffy nose. So you can imagine how that is during your sleep, right? So one thing you can actually do is go outside and actually get a panoramic view of your surroundings. So you go outside, you experience, the lack thereof sunlight, but just go outside, have that moment. You could take a walk, you could step outside with your coffee, your backyard or whatever, and just take at least 5 minutes and have that like real depth vision view outside. And it actually helps you. I'll put a link to a video from a neuroscientist who explains in depth of why this helps you. But this actually helps me every single day to get up, get alert, and make sure I complete every single task they put out before me every single day.
Wow. Yeah. And you've got to be sharp. You're working with numbers, people, and two wee ones, right? So you've really got to be on the top of your game 100%. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I think going right into that is eating more fruits and vegetables. It's not just the greens that they've always told us, but it's also the deep orange, which I was really surprised, and anything that ends in a berry. Now, I know from an aging middle-aged woman, they always said the berries have the least amount of sugar with the most antioxidants, like benefits and stuff like that. And so, but the orange, that's a new one. Orange leafy vegetables, right? Dark orange. Anybody heard that one before? Who said yeah?
In those dark orange vegetables, and even like yams and pumpkins and things like that, that's supposed to give something to you. I'm not sure what that's about, but I've read about it.
Oh, okay. I had never heard about the orange. Like it was all the dark greens that you wanted. The darker green, the better kind of thing, right? And the berries I knew, but that was new for me. So that's good to know. And it's probably better kind of sugars, like Lynn was talking about. That's better for your brain, right? Doesn't have all that other stuff caught in it. All right, and who doesn't know this one? And boy, can Chris Lee really relate to this one? Get enough sleep. Right? I know people like Warren Buffett are like 4 hours sleep. But how I don't understand how you could be effective unless you're maybe using tricks like Chris Lee was just talking about, going out and doing those 5 minutes and getting perception and perspective back. What's your average there, Michael? You're pretty active guy.
When you say average, what for my walking?
Sleep.
Oh, usually about 6.
6.
Yeah, about 6 hours during the weekend. Then on the weekend, I sleep in.
Can you really? I wish I could.
Absolutely, I recharge. Now, yesterday I went snowmobiling, so I was really tired. I came home, I had dinner, and I started napping after that. And it was like 9 o'clock. I went, I'm done. And I had this great sleep. I kept waking up every hour or two, and then I go, oh, wow, I still got another 4 hours to go. Boom, gone. But I can do that. I can wake up and just go right back at it.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Who like Michael is an average of 6 hours a night? Hand up.
Yeah. Hand up.
Oh, either hand. I don't care. 7 out. I'm a 7. I got to be at least 7 to 8. Yeah.
Kathryn, if I sleep more than 8 hours, I feel like I get tired again. Like,
well, I can't sleep more than 8 hours. That's it. I'm usually at 7 to 7.5, right? And I don't get to catch up ever. So if I do have that 5 hour or 6 hour night, because I've had orders come in late or something like that, and I had something that was more important than business to me, and then I thought, well, no, I got to do this before tomorrow morning. I can never catch up. Like I have to literally nap. I can't sleep any longer at nighttime. So I am green with envy, Michael Paul May. Chris Morris.
I don't know whether it's age or what, but I find a 20-minute nap about 3 o'clock is not only key to keeping awake for the rest of the evening, but just to my sanity. It's just like, oh. And not more than 20 minutes. 20 minutes is good. Just
Take the edge off.
Yeah, it's funny because I was reading an article in Japan. They actually people have fold-out cots at their workstations.
Yeah.
And they take a 20-minute nap. So
Wow.
Interesting.
A lot of
naps are
cultures,
the best. They're the best. I do them also. Right after dinner, sometimes lunch. Yeah.
a lot
I
of
find about
cultures,
3 o'clock. 3 o'clock is my run down to gas time.
a lot of cultures do endorse that. I know a lot of Mediterranean countries, right? They do that siesta. So the towns basically shut down between 2 and 4 p.m.
I was in Madrid and we went into a shop, like a not a souvenir-y kind of place. And as we're walking in, the lady is going, no, shooing us out the door. And I went, excuse me? Oh no, it's siesta. Come back in 2 hours.
Yeah.
But they didn't go for a nap. They all went around the corner to the taverna.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what that was all about, but I watched the lady go around the corner to a wine bar. So yeah.
Well, maybe she needs a couple wines and then she has a better nap. I don't know. But yeah, and then of course they start back up at 4 o'clock ish, and then supper's not till 7 or 8. My granddaughter went to Portugal with her parents and other grandparents. This summer she was just turning 2, and this kid was up at like 10 o'clock every night. And I said, "You guys are setting yourself up." And they went, "No, this is just while we're on vacation because we all do those naps in the afternoon." And then we don't eat supper till like 7, 8 o'clock. So life is just starting to wind down at 10 o'clock. I was like, wow, okay. And they were able to do it, but I didn't realize that was the culture in those Mediterranean countries, that because they shut down in those 2 hours, it just extends the day. So yeah, they know something. And hey, those are the ones that are living, right? Those Italian, they talk about the centurions in the mountains of Italy.
Yeah.
I think I think it might be because of a lot of it developed, I'm sure, because of the heat, because their midday is like really warm and they didn't have air conditioning. So
Mhm.
the evening, the front and the back of the day are much better temperature wise. So you get things done.
Yeah, true.
But
True.
yeah, 10 o'clock at night and all these little kids are running around in Madrid was just kind of odd.
Yes.
Actually,
Yeah.
when I was in Cancun a few years ago, I was walking, and I stay downtown. I don't do the resort thing. And I was walking through this one square at night, for on my way to the bars, but yeah, get a bite to eat. And it was, I would say, probably 11, 12 o'clock at night, and the kids were all running around.
Mhm.
And I couldn't help but think, God, good thing that, this, like, if this was Canada, children's aid would be on those parents' asses. And I was thinking, how nice is that they have the freedom to do that without being worried about someone looking over their shoulder and criticizing. And it was just,
I think there's many different reasons. But yeah, that siesta is definitely, my daughter-in-law says they did. They slept, whether it was in the house, in the basement, whether like sub basements, right? Because they don't have basements, or out under the trees, which sounded lovely. All right. And one of the last things that they recommend is reading for pleasure or doing puzzles. Whether they were board puzzles, like we all did during the pandemic, 1,000-piece things, right? First time in my life I ever picked up a 1,000-piece puzzle was in the first 2 weeks of when I realized the pandemic was going to be something for at least a month or two. Who does like crosswords or Sudoku or what do you do, Chris?
Barb and I do crosswords together, and we're a little miffed because the one in the local paper has gotten easier.
Oh,
it used to be, it used to take us like 15 minutes to do it. Now it's like 8.
oh.
So,
Yeah.
but Barb's actually working on a 1,000-piece puzzle right now. So
I just ordered for me and my granddaughter the planets, the 8 planets, because 4 Points Puzzles in Hamilton is shutting down their bricks and mortar.
If you really want a challenge, when Barb was looking for this one, there was a 1,000-piece puzzle that had no picture. So there's a challenge for you.
Yeah. Or those ones that the shape of the puzzle piece is all the same, right? It's just the picture you've got to pick. Who else does puzzles of any type? Cass, what kind of puzzles?
I like those brain train games. Any of them, all of them, where they're like, I don't know, like you have to choose the color, even though the color word is written out in a different color, and they tell you whether you're choosing the word or the color that it's written in. That kind of stuff. There's all kinds of them, but I like the brain train games. I find them relaxing.
And where do you locate those? Are those like it's sold in like a book, like a crossword would be, or?
No, I have like a little DS, the Nintendo little game system, and they're yeah.
Gotcha.
It's quite old, but it works for me.
Yep, that's what's important, isn't it, Frida?
I do Sudoku a lot. I love puzzles. I used to do lots of puzzles with my mom. But I don't think that I think there's more enjoyment when it has a picture on it. Like I would not handle the plain cardboard looking picture at all. I think that, watching something come to life is part of the joy of doing a puzzle and making it look like the picture. So I haven't done many puzzles since Mom passed 3 years ago now. They're all sitting in the cupboard, and I'm thinking, do I want to or do I not want to? It always takes up so much room, and then somebody walks by and a piece gets dropped on the floor or something like that. So I haven't. We also do Lego a fair bit. We do adult Lego, and I've been collecting different. Like I get people's bins of Lego and all their different books, and then I try to make the sets back together, and then I resell the sets already made. So those are a couple of my hobbies. So
Oh, there you go. And that was another thing, detailed hobbies. That makes sense. Yeah. Michael, go ahead.
Spider solitaire online, 4 suits, makes the brain move.
That's what the ads keep saying, right?
I'm actually addicted to I have one addiction in my life, spider solitaire. Yeah, I usually start my morning with it.
That's good. Yeah. Sheila, I see you've been shaking your head the whole time.
I actually, you know how everybody's playing Candy Crush? I have one on the tablet, and it's Word Crush. It just looking for words. It's just sort of cool. So, and I read a lot, or read when I can.
Yeah. They say reading for pleasure as well. I find I always have a book about something entrepreneurial, whether it be somebody's autobiography or something. But I do miss just reading for the heck of reading, a spy novel. There's a whole bunch of them out there, Tom Clancy's and stuff like that, right? And they say if you read 90 minutes, whatever the reasoning be, like for pleasure, whatever kind of reading you're doing, it will always help, as well as the puzzles. Yeah, Chris.
I was just going to say that I've discovered that Kobo on my phone, and they have a whole bunch of free books. And I just subscribe to their newsletter and just read the free ones. But yeah, it's I've always got at least one or two going. I got that from my dad. He would be walking around. I can still remember, and in his jacket pocket there was a book in each pocket. When he passed away, we took 1,600 pocketbooks to the local veterans hospital.
Wow.
We were big readers at home.
Yeah. And that is one of the issues. I know my oldest, he was very much not wanting to get rid of any of his sets. And it's okay, Ian, you got one bookshelf, buddy. We can't go beyond this, 6-shelf bookshelf in their double road. You got to make some cutbacks here, Oh, that's great. That's great. Anybody else have any suggestions or comments on what would make you have better memory? Yes, Cass, go right ahead.
I was just going to talk about the idea of positively thinking about things as opposed to not forget. It's to remember, because the brain doesn't really hear that not part. So when you say not forget, you're telling yourself to forget. You're not hearing that beginning part. So it's remember this or do this. That whole idea of putting it in the positive for your brain to catch on to it.
Oh, that's a really good idea. Maybe that's why I don't make grocery lists if I'm doing like a quick run. I'll go, I have 4 things that I have to remember. And I can't remember the 4 things until I start going. And then I can always work on that. I always get that 4th one just by, having said it a couple times, remembering I have 4 things. That's a good idea. The positive, yes. Don't we know that in every aspect of our life, never mind just in memory. Anybody else? Yes, Chris.
I was just going to say, if I don't make a list when I go to the grocery store, I remember that last thing, usually when I'm pulling back in the driveway.
Andrea.
There is this game that I like to play on my phone, Alleviate. It's math and grammar, and I'm very competitive with myself. So it gives you a certain time where you have to solve the questions. So every time that I solve it in a certain time, it's like, okay, I got to do better. I want to do better. So I love doing that. And like Sheila, there's a game that I also play. It's not Word Crush, but Toy Blast, because it's almost like, you know, you've got to accomplish tasks, and it's always trying to figure out how to do it. So again, another challenging game for me that keeps me on my toes, actually.
Excellent. Excellent. Oh, Mary, yeah, go ahead, Mary.
I'll add a few of my insights to all of this too. I mean, all of these games are wonderful. I too play a bunch of them on my phone from time to time to help sharpen my skills. But if I could add, you know, back to where we're talking about food, I think one of the key things that and you know, as we get older, and you know, I'm in my 50s, so definitely, you know, a lot more conscientious and want to educate myself more than ever. Eating anti-inflammatory foods is probably the key thing you can do for everything, right? Because this beats cancer, it helps with your memory, and overall, it fights disease. So foods like onions, avocado, olive oil, broccoli, you know, there's lists of them. But if you focus on just really eating anti-inflammatory foods, I think overall, everything's better, from your memory, digestion, all of it. So that's what I would add. And you know what? To add a little bit, prayer goes a long way. If you don't, you know, whatever your faith is, prayer goes a very long way, because we're never alone in anything that we do. And another thing that I practice very regularly is the Wim Hof method, which is deep breathing. So I'm sure lots of you have heard about that, but just taking that time every day to really breathe deeply for like a few minutes. So, you know, has a huge impact on your day. So those are my midlife insights.
Sound like very good advice. Excellent. Anybody else? Okay, I was just going to let you know.
Physical exercise.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Running.
Physical exercise. Nobody's talking about your body. I joined a bowling league. I'm close to 70, and I'm not going to sit and vegetate. I was never that way. So I get out there and do something physically. It keeps me more mentally alert. You're speaking more with others. You're not being shut in and alone. I just found those help.
That's amazing. Yes.
So, you know, the only thing I'm going to add to this is, you know what, I'm 60 this year, and you're only as old as you feel. Age is just a number. I agree with everything everybody says, but you know what, if you feel young, you are young. Just my 2 cents worth. That's it. I'm 60 this year, 60.
Wow.
I feel better at 61 than I did at 51.
Yeah, me as well.
And I exercise every day. I go out for a morning walk. By the time 7 o'clock comes, I've already done over 10,000 steps every day.
Yeah.
And that's 7 a.m.
I know. I'm getting out of bed.
I too agree. Exercise is like the first. Sorry, I didn't mention it. That's a no-brainer. Exercise is the first thing, you know, next to diet. Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's why I do it first, because it's all about me. It's the first thing of the day, instead of making it the end of the day where I've done everything else. And I'm like, oh, do I have time to do that? No, I actually got time for me first. Then everything else falls into place.
Yeah.
I found when I did hot yoga, it always helped me to relax my mind, and then to remember all the things that to do, and just to, you know, add new things to my task list. That's my 2 cents.
All right. Sorry, Lynn, I missed you leaving there. Just to mention that article I did put for menopause is in the chat under myself, right, Kathryn? And we are going to get ready to go to breakout rooms. But John, if you would do a quick introduction and talk about Biz Connects, please.
Sure. So I'm John with Better Events. We're the producers of BizCon.
BizCon is the area's largest business development trade show and conference. We had a super successful event in Hamilton in November. We're just moving on to our next event in Mississauga. I actually just got word this morning that the Mississauga Board of Trade is partnering with us for this event. It will be an official Mississauga Board of Trade event. So, you know, they regularly get a couple hundred of their members out to their big events, and this will be one of them. And it's coming up, you know, in March, and it's going to be a pretty large one. We'll have over 70 exhibitors there. The premise of the event is for business owners, you know, executives, entrepreneurs. They can come out to the show and meet with, you know, just about every, you know, business development product, service provider that they might need for their business. They'll also meet with other business people from the community, like-minded entrepreneurs. It's just a great place to go, great place to network. We're expecting hundreds of attendees, obviously, but the Mississauga show has always been a bit of a special one. It's one of our larger events of the year. You might remember some of our past events under Better Business Expo. But BizCon is really taking off into something special this year. Super excited for the event coming up. Obviously, as members of this group, we're happy to offer you guys complimentary admission. I'll shoot a link into the chat here, and you can use promo code BC Guest. Come on out as our guest to BizCon, but it's happening at the Mississauga Convention Center. It's going to be at the end of March. Click the link, grab a ticket. If anyone is interested in exhibiting at the show, it's a great way to meet hundreds of potential clients, you know, cash in hand, shopping for solutions for their business, looking for different verticals, people looking to invest and just increase their bottom line. So if you think it's going to be advantageous for you to maybe be on the other side of the table, we are actively taking on exhibitor applications right now. And that's something that I would just encourage you to reach out to me directly for, and I can help you out with that.
Excellent.
John,
John, is that lowercase or uppercase or a mix?
It's not case sensitive.
Okay.
It just went down into the chat, Michael.
Thank you.
Putting the people that are from this great city in the same aisle again?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, this great city has always been, you know, a great part of the event. The last couple of events we produced, we've literally done an entire aisle of exhibitors, all under this great city umbrella. As a member of this great city, we will offer you an incentive to become part of this event, give you a little bit of a benefit to that. But in addition to that, you will be in the aisle that other This Great City members are, and that really works out great. I know you guys had a really good time last time because you were able to refer business back and forth to one another, and you really were able to influence our audience and show them the culture that this great city is.
Excellent. Michael, did you have another question or no?
That was
and John, you're gonna contact me, right? In your COVID fog, you remember me saying, yeah?
Yeah, I sent you an email back, Kathryn.
Yeah, I know, but I just want to remember that I'm going to be there. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Of course, absolutely.
Has everybody put their stuff in the chat box? Because we found out that we lose everything once we go to the breakout rooms, right? That's awesome. Well, I hope you enjoyed your time meeting new people, saying hi to people that you hadn't, and exchanging ideas. It was a wonderful morning, and don't forget that we got drop in tomorrow, Wednesday at 9:30. The move is on with our 3 stars, Shannon, Allie, and Kevin. And at noon is the mastermind with our own Stephanie Simmons. And Thursday morning, Ivan will have a guest on about how to do bang it out of the world presentations. Right? All right, folks. Until then, have an awesome day. Take care.
Good seeing you.
Bye.